Hello everyone, Steve Gage here, NASM certified personal trainer and co-owner of Engage Fitness. Today we're going to go over a quick but fun push-up tutorial. How to do a push-up. What are the steps to get there? What's involved with it? How do I do it? I need to know. So we're just going to talk about first the muscles that are involved with the push-up. It's not just one muscle group, it's a ton. So we have, obviously the first is the chest, your main power pushing motion, muscle group, and you have also the triceps, another pushing, secondary pushing muscle group. But you also have the shoulders and the back coming together, keeping that shoulder stability as we're moving through the push-up. And last but not least, the most crucial, the core. The core is staying active, keeping that spine in that neutral shape, allowing your body to move the way it's supposed to. If that spine is out of alignment, either forward, backward, side, out of the left to the right, your body's not going to function the way it's supposed to. That spine neutrality is crucial, and that's where that core engagement comes in handy. So a lot of people are confused where to start with the push-up, and they try to go straight to the floor, just not knowing how to do it, and they can't do it that well, and they get frustrated and let it go. So we're going to start with where to start with when you want to get into doing a push-up. So the best thing to do is start with a wall or this large surface that you can put your hand on and not feel like you're either going to slip off or the object is going to move. Again, making sure it's sturdy. You don't want to push against something with wheels and then you go to push and you just hit the floor. And making sure it's sturdy, like a wall, something heavy, heavy duty. And then we're going to get into our push-up position. So what that means is we're going to try to step starting with a few inches away from the wall, probably about a fist or two distance away, and we're going to get into our push-up position. And what that means is we're going to get in, the elbows are always lower than the shoulders. We never want to have them in line with the shoulders because that puts a lot of pressure on that shoulder joint. So we're finding our shoulder, our push-up shape. Again, hands are the outside of the body, feet are together. And as we come down, bringing that chest to the wall, we want to make sure those shoulder blades are squeezed together. Again, getting that shoulder in that ideal position to move around. So we're lowering ourselves to the wall and then pushing away from the wall. Again, if you're not that far away from the wall, you won't have that far to go, but you're getting used to the motion of the push-up. And try to imagine putting your mind in your chest and pushing with that. That's going to be your main power pushing muscle group. So again, if you find that a few inches away from the wall is not really activating anything or feeling like anything's working, all you have to do is simply just step farther away from the wall. Because when you increase that angle from the wall, it increases the load on those muscle groups. So same thing, shoulders, elbows are below the shoulders, hands are flat on the wall, and we're lowering, squeezing those shoulder blades to the wall and then pressing away from the wall. Also, with that core engagement, we want to make sure we're not overarching the back and you'll feel that strain in the lower back. So if you're feeling too much of that, try to keep that core engagement and that'll keep that spine neutral. And we continue with this shape just until the point when we feel we're far enough away from the wall that it's really activating the chest, and we're able to do this position a large amount of reps with no problem. So again, first step is with the wall. So 10, my wall is right here. We start small. So start with just a few inches away. Hands are flat against the wall. Elbows are below the shoulders. Again, we never want them up here because then that causes that pain at the pinched nerve in the shoulder joint. So we want to make sure they're lower than the shoulders. Hands are flat against the wall, and we're just bringing the body to the wall and then pressing away. Just like that. And again, finding that angle that works for you. So if you need to step a little farther back, obviously I can't do it because there's no wall. So just stepping farther back and just getting that chest to the wall and then pressing with the triceps and the chest. So if you feel like you've mastered that wall, you're far enough away from the wall where you're almost at the point where you're off the wall, then we're going to take it to the next step. So our next step is finding either something that's like a table, a couch, just something that's flat and obviously sturdy, because again, we're pushing against it. We want to make sure it's not going to move as we move, because then we're going to hit the floor, and then we're definitely not going to want to do any more push-ups. So we're just going to bring our little work couch here. I'm going to angle it so you can see me a little more. So again, our next step of the push-up is finding a surface to angle on. So again, we'll start with the knees. That's a great starter position. So again, same thing we did with the wall, keeping the elbows below the shoulder, starting close, just like we did with the wall, and then lifting the feet off and just leaning into that surface. And then we're going to press, again, making sure we're not overextending, just bringing it to the point where the shoulders are in line with those hips. Squeezing those shoulder blades, activating that core. And just do these until you feel this isn't really doing a lot. You're not really feeling a lot of that muscle activation. And then simply just get the knees farther back, because just like we did with the wall, the more you increase that angle, the more taxing it's going to be on those muscle groups. Again, core engagement is first, leaning in, pushing away from that surface, inhaling on the way down, exhaling on the push. Again, making sure also we get those shoulder blades squeezed, and pressing away. And continue this until, again, just like we did with the wall, where you're at the angle where it's probably not very comfortable, or you feel it's a little too easy to do the push-ups that way. And then we'll take it to the next step, the floor. It's going to be a little different because we're using level ground this time as opposed to angles or straight in front of us. So with this same method, where we're starting with the knees, we want to make sure those knees are in line with the hips and the shoulders. Our hands are going to be just a little bit in front of the shoulders. But again, as we come down, core engagement, keeping that back flat. We don't want that overarching or rounding position. So again, starting with the feet flat on the floor. Feet are flat on the floor and tucking that chin in, keeping that neutral spine. And we're just lowering just to where you feel it's low enough that you can get back up. So again, just lowering yourself. Keeping the elbows tucked in. We never want them to flail to the side, because again, that leads to that shoulder impingement and injury that we want to avoid. So we're tucking the elbows, squeezing those shoulder blades, pressing up with the floor. Almost imagine you're trying to press against the floor, pushing yourself away from the floor. And again, modifying this shape, so if you feel you've done a hefty amount of reps in that position, just change it a little bit. So instead of having the feet on the floor, just have them up in the air. That takes one less contact point. It's going to put more emphasis and strain on the chest, triceps, and shoulders. Again, same thing, getting as low as we can. We're focusing on range of motion. We don't want to just do little half reps and, oh, that's good enough, then I can move to the next step. The lower we get, the more muscle activation you're going to get in that push-up. So we're squeezing the shoulder blades down, exhaling on the push. And as you push, making sure as you come up, that lower back doesn't arch, you get that neutral spine. That's where that core engagement comes in handy. And if we need to start halfway, that's fine. We want to make sure you're able to get back up and teach your body how to push against the floor and get your body back up. Because it's going to learn. It's going to learn, okay, I can do this halfway. And it's going to learn if you try to push a little more. It already knows how to get past that halfway point. So remember, once you get to that shape, lower. And again, I would recommend doing this maybe in front of a mirror, making sure that as you come down, the head doesn't lead the motion. The head is just, again, in line with that spine. Try to imagine you're trying to tuck that chin into the back of your head, keeping that neutral neck and spine. And you're just lowering down. Okay, making sure the head doesn't start the motion, because then your spine's out of alignment, and we want to make sure that spine is neutral and in alignment throughout the whole push-up. So the next variation is we'll take the legs back a little farther. So we're increasing that angle of the leg, adding more stress to the chest, triceps, and shoulders and core. And again, starting with the feet touching the mat or the floor, and just lowering. And play around with the hand placement too. So if you find that your hands are a little too forward, you're feeling a little stressed somewhere that you don't want to, just shift them around. Play with the shape. Find what is your best push-up shape. As long as elbows aren't in line with the shoulder, because as you come down, the shoulder has a tendency to roll forward, and we want to keep that shoulder back. And once you master that, you can do a hefty amount of reps in that position and no problem. We'll take it to the straight leg shape of the push-up. So with this, we're keeping everything the same. The only thing that changes is the leg position. So the legs are straight out. You're on the tippy toes, using the toes as your base. Again, keeping that, and this is where a lot of core engagement comes into play, because that core engagement is going to keep that spine neutral and prevent that butt from hiking up or dropping to the floor. Neutral is where we want to be. So we're taking our breath in, get those shoulder blades squeezed. And especially with the legs now extended, you have the added extra muscle group activating, so you're using your glutes. So it's another part of the core. You're using the abdominals to keep that spine neutral as in the front, and you're using those glutes to lock in that spine at the bottom. Because you'll feel if you contract your glutes, you're less able to get that overarching in the back. And that's what we want to make sure. The glutes are contracted and the abs are contracted in the front, keeping that spine in that perfect neutral shape. So again, with these push-up shapes, you also have the ability to change the arm angle. So if you find, say you're in your knee variation, and you're not really getting enough benefit or feel with the arms in that neutral position going up and down, try changing the angle of the arm, like the distance. So for example, instead of having them in that neutral position, try having them a little wider. As long as elbows are not in line with the shoulder, because again, want them a little lower, as that taxes the chest and alleviates any shoulder injuries we're going to run into. Again, just widening that angle, that's going to hit more of the outside of the chest. Again, just neutral spine, tight core, head's tucked, and just lowering. And vice versa, if you want to maybe work a little more, just bring the arms in a little more and tuck in the elbows. That's going to work a lot more tricep and middle of the chest. So again, just like where your hands are, that's the area of the chest that's going to work. So if your hands are wider, it's going to work more outside, and as the hands come in, it works more the inside of the chest and the muscles involved in that push-up. So the hands are in just a little more than that neutral shape, tucking in those elbows, coming down. But even though the arm placement changes, everything else is the same. That core engagement is the same. Squeezing those shoulder blades as you come down. It's exactly the same. The breath is the same. And we also want to make sure as we get tired in this push-up shape, we want to make sure the shoulders aren't hiking up to the ears. We want to keep them back and down. And that keeps that shoulder in that neutral, natural position and allows it to move without any impingement or irregular movements. And again, just taking these shapes to your own level. Don't try to just jump. If you've never done a push-up before, don't just jump right into the floor, because then you're going to be worried that you're not doing it correctly, start with the basics, because you'll be amazed how quickly you'll pick it up and get that mind-muscle connection using the correct muscles to push yourself up and around. So again, starting with the wall, again, all you do to build on that is just increase the feet, distance of the feet and legs away from the wall. And you'll find as you get farther away from that wall, it's going to tax the chest, the shoulders, everything you're working with the push-up even more. And then we'll take it to either our couch, table, countertop, just making sure that we're using something solid. Again, no wheels, because we don't want to push against something and have it roll away as we're pushing, because then we're going to meet the floor, and we kind of want to meet the floor on our own terms. And then next, after you master that, you've gotten far enough away from that surface that you can go on straight legs and it's not really taxing. And then we'll take that position to the floor, starting with the knees, and then just gradually building on getting the angle of those legs back, because that's going to tax more of the chest, shoulders, and triceps and core for the push-up. And then eventually we'll build on the straight leg shape where we keep that core engagement as always, as well as the glutes. And again, making sure we're in control of the movement, not just letting the body fall, we're in control of the motion. And another tip, if you've been doing one shape for, it seems like forever, and you're not really seeing any progress, try slowing down the motion. So for example, if you're been stuck in the knees position where it seems like forever, just slow down the position on the way down. So for example, say you're in this shape, so instead of going, for example, 1 second up and down, try to go down for 3 seconds, really taxing those muscles involved with the push-up. 1, 2, 3, and then really fast up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And the reason we slow down on the way down, because it's really adding that extra stress and work on those muscles involved with the push-up, the chest, shoulders, triceps, and core, as opposed to the 1 second up and down. Now those muscle groups have to focus and work for 3 seconds, and the more you put the tension on those muscle groups, the stronger they're going to be, and the more they're going to learn how to work. And again, making sure, paying attention to any discomfort or strangeness we feel in the body as we're in this push-up shape. Because again, we want to make sure we're doing these shapes safely and injury-free. So again, if you find there's shoulder noises or there's shoulder discomfort, look into maybe why that's feeling uncomfortable, or maybe using the mirrors and try to see where your position might need a little TLC and regrouping. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope these tips and levels for the push-up were helpful and help you build on that push-up shape. Thanks for tuning in again. Be safe, be kind, and choose to be well. Take care.